Hey, this is Sonny Street, and we are here with Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, and let's have some fun.
Promotional consideration paid for by the following.
This is Steve BOWTIE Bryant here. Back in the 90s, I was a pro wrestling photographer for the South, and I released what might have been one of the original sets of indie trading cards. I ran across some of these original sets. They were up in Randall Fanning's attic all this time. PG-13 rookie card, Ricky Morton, George Weingroff as the Sheik, Chris Champion, Reno Riggins, Billy Montana, Gary Valiant, the Scorpion, the Medic, Rick Reynolds, Jeff Daniels, Mephisto and Dante, Ben Jordan, Steve Neely, Marcus Woodrow, Clinton Charisma, Little Farmer John. If you'd like an opportunity to get these cards, contact me now. You can get them for only $49.99. Contact me at stevebowtiebryant at iCloud.com. Get your set now while supplies last.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
For those who don't know, now you know, baby. This is Hot Rod Biggs, Jared, Jimmy Street. We're going to take them to the limit one more time, baby, right here on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome one more time to the Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling podcast, and I'm here as always with my brother from the same father and mother, the Plastic Sheik, Jared Street. What's up, Sheik? How you doing?
I'm doing great, brother. How about yourself?
Man, just living, you know, got a lot of stuff going on in the world of the podcasting empire, you know, thing. So,
yeah, y'all doing good stuff over there at the Wolfie show. And I love the tribute to Tracy Smothers.
Thanks, man.
You know, if people listening here haven't checked it out, I recommend the YouTube version of it so you can get the video.
Yeah.
But if you can't listen to it on YouTube, then check it out one of the other ways.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, 1,600 views so far. Plus, I think we've added like 58 subscribers. We're actually beating our podcast now. So for so long, Give Me Back has been in front, but it looks like that might be a memory now. But it's a good thing. So.
Well, you owe it all Tracy Smothers. So.
Yeah, thank you, Tracy, as always, you know. But no, man, that was just a total labor of love, totally frustrating to get it completed. But, you know, in the end, it was worth it. And, you know, couldn't think of a better person to be in tribute to, you know.
Yeah.
You know, had a lot of responses to Steve Neely, our previous episode, too. You know, that was a fun episode, had Ben Jordan on as special guest host while you were vacationing. And so that was a lot of fun. I think Ben really enjoyed that. If you guys out there don't mind, say a prayer for our good buddy, Ben Jordan. He's one of our favorites, you know.
Absolutely, man. Great guy.
And a heck of a special guest co-host, man.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, but, you know, man, I'm trying to think what else. You know, we got to see each other recently, of course, you know, spent some time up in Virginia, getting in the pool with Cash and having fun. Unfortunately, that's over and back to real life now. But, yeah, we kind of had some fun. But I appreciate us, you know, getting to swim together. Got couple sunburns for it, so
get to do an interview together.
And so that was what I was about to say. So after, you know, us being together up in Virginia, you know, it was time to interview Sonny. And the cool thing is you and I were in the same room, and I think we've only done that once or twice, maybe. You know, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, probably once with the superhero episode, and then the Wild Boys, Mortons, and the Devils.
Of course,
But I mean, that was more focused on them. There wasn't a lot of back and forth between me and you and the guests. But
right. Still a lot of fun, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a cool, man. I think, obviously, if we could do it that way all the time, I do think that would be one way we could, improve the podcast. But, we do with what we can. But, it was a lot of fun getting to do that. And really, we had 5 streets, really 7 streets or so.
And you may hear them in the background. I'm just kidding.
Very, very good possibility of that. But, yeah, Sonny's great, man. One of the guys that, he didn't have the resume that everybody else did, but man, he picked his spots well. Mid-South Coliseum first match, Municipal Auditorium third match. Sonny, I think, regrets not having a bigger career, but man, he really picked his spots, and and I think he did well for himself because of that. So very cool conversation, and I can't wait to talk to him about it, man. Really can't.
Yeah, man. He, just a quick minute on it. Like when we were down there for the Muletown Mania and everything for the live podcast, like he was one of those guys that just, I didn't know as many people as you do. I mean, I know him from the podcast or talking to him, but like, he was just so like welcoming to me, like being there. And I was like, he just took right up talking to me, and, we broke bread together and shared our love for the banana pudding we had down there. So he's just a great guy. He's just a great guy.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Absolutely. 100%. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and get our good Uncle Sonny on the line. What do you say?
I'm ready for it, brother.
All right. We'll be right back after these messages with Sonny Street on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Hey guys, this is Wolfie D from PG-13. Check out my podcast, Live and in Color with Wolfie D, every Monday at noon. We're talking Memphis, we're talking ECW, WCW, WWF, everywhere that I've been. We even have some great guests, some Hall of Famers on the show with us. Every Monday, Live and in Color with Wolfie D.
This is Kroll, and you're listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling with Jimmy Street and Jarrett the Plastic Sheik. Be sure to like, subscribe, and view all of our USWO and Saw Wrestling content at Nashville Wrestling Network, exclusively on YouTube.
All right, we are back with, honestly, one of the most sought after guests on this entire show. We've tried to pin him down several times, but our good Uncle Sonny Street, he's not one that can be pinned down. He's a wild card. You never can tell where he's going to be. He's so busy in life. So we've got him finally, Jared. I'm excited for this one. This has been one of our most requested, and honestly, I'm just ready to get it going. What do you think, man?
Man, I can't wait. Ever since we got to talk to him a lot there about a month ago, it's been on my mind to get him on here and chew the fat, so to say, and I'm ready for it, man.
Well, let's wait no longer. Welcome to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling, Uncle Sonny Street. What's up, brother? How you doing today, buddy?
I'm so tickled to be here with you guys, and I still am and just at all about you guys wanting to have me on compared to all these other superstars you've had before me. Just tickled to be here to share a little bit of the old Sonny Street life, and especially be with you two guys. It's just making it extra special. And first off, can we do a little prayers for some of these guys that had these issues over the last months? We've had some brothers and sisters that had some issues going, and they're on my hearts every day. And I know as they will, as they are with you too as well. So
absolutely.
Thanks for
Yeah, and you're very welcome to be here. And I mean that when I say, I've asked you several times, so I'm glad we've got you now, brother. That's all that matters. So as you know, on every podcast, we always start with the Plastic Sheik's favorite question. Take it away, Sheik.
All right, Sonny. So, I love to ask it. It could be people that influenced you, people you like to watch, people you like to work with in the business. If you had a Mount Rushmore, like 4 or 5 guys in the business that you consider like your Mount Rushmore, who would that be?
Gosh, man, there's so many to tie it down to 4 or 5, but I'll give it my best shot to keep it at 4 or 5 because
I'll give you since your family, I'll give you a 6th one if you need it.
Oh, you just went up in my book. Definitely, everybody always says Mr. King, Mr. Lawler. He's great. We all know that. but Superstar Bill Dundee should be on the very top of that deal. Mr. Hegg, Tommy Heggie for sure. Even Reno Riggins, man, he has just made a difference in so many of these local independent wrestlers' lives. Robert Fuller and Jimmy Golden, being in the locker room, those guys was so extra special to me. And I'm going to add another, Mr. Ricky Morton. Ricky Morton,
I love it. Yeah.
They're all, and Shane, Shane Morton, that wall could be so big that we would need 2 walls.
Right. Absolutely. And that's good.
Well, there's so many more, but those guys are definitely right up at the top for me.
That's awesome. A lot of Tennessee love in there for you, man. It's great to hear.
Yes.
It's great to see, that's what influenced you. That's what you've seen and what you've looked up to. And that's why I love these lists, because everyone's a little bit different, and there's always somebody different. And your list was just as excellent as any that we've had. So I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Sheik, I let him get that one out of the way, but we start here at the very beginning because we like to tell the story as best we can. So to start it off, I always like to ask this question. So, Sonny, tell us about your younger days. Where were you born? Where did you go to high school? That kind of thing. Tell us a little bit about your younger self.
Well, it's pretty simple. I was actually born and raised right there in South Nashville by the old Fairgrounds wrestling arena.
Oh, man.
3 blocks from it on Martin Street. My mother worked at a little store right there on Wedgwood, and spent many a year just hooking up to the wrestling arena. And my first main event that I saw at the old Fairgrounds wrestling arena was Mr. Tommy Marlin and Mr. Tommy Gilbert. Man, right there, I think I was 5 or 6 years old, and I thought, man, how cool is this? Look at these people standing up and hollering for these guys. I had no idea why, but now I do. And it gets you, man. It gets you every time I start thinking about it. Like when I was a kid, it makes me feel like I'm 5 to 10 years old again.
Man, that's why we do this podcast, brother. Seriously, I mean, we're just all kids, right?
Yeah. Huge.
So. Yeah. So, okay, now this is where we're going to get off on a topic here. Talk about the sports you played in high school, man.
Well, I went to Antioch High School, and that's, of course, the home of the old brother Ricky Morton and Rockaway Express. And
L.A., yeah.
Played baseball over there, loved baseball, and got snookered into playing a little football when I got into my senior year of high school because the punter got his leg broke. So I ended up being the punter, and had a ball doing it, but I sure didn't like them old 2-a-day practices because it was just too hot for a chubby man. But I did it because, my baseball coach said, Bubba, I want you to kick. I said, okay, I will for you, but nobody else will do it for.
Right.
High school, so of course, wrestling, and, we all at that school followed Ricky Morton, and because that's where he was from. We call it L.A. or Lower Antioch.
Yeah, L.A. That's where Wolfie's from, too. I know he went to a different high school, but yeah, that John Overton is where he went to. But anyway, we won't blame him for that.
Oh, I love him Bobcats, too. Got a lot of brothers and sisters over there, too, when I went to school.
Yeah. So, and I know you kind of answered it, but really, you started liking wrestling early. I mean, it was from a young age.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about that.
Well, I loved it, and then, for years and years and years, they moved over to the world famous Goodless Wrestling, building up the road right up on the hill, and that was to me the mecca of professional wrestling. Went up there every Saturday. I had enough money to get into the gate. It was me and another little brother of mine named Danny Hollis. He's from Antioch too. If we had the money to go to those shows on Saturday night, man, we were there. Saw some of the best wrestling of all time right there. So I fell in love with it right then.
Yeah. And I mean, there's nothing like seeing wrestling at the fairgrounds. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more in the future here. But really, honestly, we can say that right now, and nobody would argue. There is nothing like professional wrestling at the Mecca, right?
Absolutely, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now, did you watch wrestling outside of the area too, or were you mostly just a local wrestling fan, like the Memphis area?
Just local, every Saturday morning, me and a bunch of my neighbors, if we didn't get up on Saturday morning and watch the wrestling from Memphis, I felt like my day was just burnt.
Yeah.
9 o'clock if I heard that music come on, y'all know the music.
Oh, I do.
up all night on Friday night. I'm up at 9 o'clock to hear that music.
Man, that's awesome. That was Deodato's version of the 2001 Space Odyssey song. It was like a remix version of that. So,
So, Sonny, tell us a little bit about your start into business and like training and everything like that. Tell us a little bit about how you got into it.
That's very easy. When I first got out of high school, I was going to train to be a wrestler because Mr. Paul Morton, I had gone to church at Haywood Baptist Church in Antioch. He had introduced me to the Fabs and said, "Hey, man, this gentleman wants to be a wrestler." And, of course, they looked at me and looked, "Oh, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, he wants to be a wrestler." And that was the main event night at the fairgrounds when the Fabs wrestled the Road Warriors for the first time.
Oh, I've heard that story. Wolfie was there. Yes. Yeah.
Huge. So, but I ended up meeting the Fabs. I didn't get to do it at that time because I ended up going to college playing college baseball. And there's another story down the road for that deal. So you didn't get to start then. We'll get into that next one if you want to.
Yeah. So, well, tell us a little bit about your college baseball.
Played a little bit of junior college at QUANTITIES Junior College over there right off of West 10 in Nashville. And of course, there was another rather unknown future Hall of Famer there. Mr. Jeff Jarrett was there with me.
Yeah.
We cut up every day in a couple of those classes. We weren't studying too much. That wasn't our gig. We were talking wrestling, and then he went into his little deal with big deal with Tony that Saturday mornings when he got jumped on by the guys, and Jeff was off in training, and I was every day at Ald when he came in going, "What y'all do, man? What y'all do?" "Oh, brother, I can't tell you anything." I said, "Well, you can try."
And then eventually you did start training, and tell us who you started training with.
Well, it's very, very cool. Me and one of my buddies from the sheriff's department, we worked for old Faye Thomas down in Davidson County. We were old jail guards. A guy named, his real name was Mike. We went on the word of Sid Stryker.
Yeah.
We got up with, of course, the Superstar Bill Dundee. We trained up there in Gallatin at one of the hardest rinks ever to take on. Jamie was there when he was very young. It was cool to see him as well. And that class was a very, very good class. We had a Beauty and the Beast in there, Terry Garvin and Mark Doolin.
Yeah.
They were in the class. Cat Garrett pretty much ran the class.
Okay.
Bill was on, but he was there with us a lot too. And Todd Morton was in that class. We had a really, really special class.
Cool Breeze was there too, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I think, and my memory, I'm like everybody else. It sets in. I don't remember everything, but Mr. Breeze was up there with us too.
Okay, very cool. And then, do you have a story about him potatoing you too?
Up in that school, we potatoed. Everybody potatoed.
Idaho, right? Idaho.
Everybody hit somebody with something. It was, "Oh Lord, oh my," and at that time you didn't know it was bad. You just thought oh, it's hurt. So
yeah,
keep going. Do another one.
Yeah. So, you brought up your partner, your longtime tag team partner, Sid Stryker, right? And we did talk a little bit about this at the reunion, and it was cool to get to see you and stuff. And but where did you come up with the Sonny Street name?
Well, for me, it was pretty easy. Me and Mike both. Sid already had his name, Sid Stryker.
Okay. It's a great name. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We were doing some bounty hunting and stuff back in the day. It's Sid Stryker. That was his alias for us to get in some of them doors.
Oh, okay. Okay.
We were all these things, and then S and S, I thought, man, I got to come up with a name. And so we battled, we worked midnights at the jail. We had a lot of time on our hands, and Sonny Street just popped up. Boom. I loved exotic Adrian Street. He was like ultimates to me. Just should be on that Mount Rushmore with everybody.
Amen.
And here we go. Yes, we did the S&S Express. We had so many different goofy names we were going to put out, but you have 1,000 ideas, but one sticks. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. Well, we're glad you picked it because obviously that brought you into our family. So we didn't exist yet, but hey, maybe we were just little, but either way. So,
loins anyway, you were coming.
Yeah, we were on the way, right? That we were on the way. Go ahead with this next one, Sheik.
Tell us about your first match, like where and who for, and all the good stuff.
Oh, that's cool. The very first match was Mr. Dundee give us a shout, said, "Hey, we need you four down here at the Mid-South. Y'all going to kick off our show." It was me and Sid Stryker, or Sonny Street Sid Stryker, against called the Nature's Best.
Yeah,
Nature's Best. A guy named Dave Justice. I can't remember Dave Justice, but Daryl Justice was the other gentleman that we became friends with for years. That was our first tag team match at Mid-South Coliseum. We kicked the show off, and here we go, off and running.
Yeah, and I never knew that, Dave Justice wrestled. I just thought he was an outfielder for the Braves, but different Dave Justice. Yeah. And so, how are you feeling at this point? I know you're young in the business, but where are you at after doing that? In your mind, are you feeling like you're getting there?
After that first match, I don't know about many people, but after that first match, I got to debut at the Mid-South Coliseum.
Which is huge.
You got the Mecca, you got Mid-South. It's packed. Back in those days, in the late 80s, early 90s, Monday nights, that place was packed. Not because of us. It was because of the stuff on the main events.
Right.
King was bringing in everybody.
Yeah.
I thought of the world until I got the call about 2 Saturdays later to show up at the Municipal Auditorium. Things changed right then.
Yeah. And getting to that municipal match, talk about that, man, especially for you, because the fairgrounds is probably the place if you didn't wrestle anywhere but the fairgrounds, you would have been happy with your career, I assume. But working the municipal, that's even bigger, man.
Well, it was when they were kicking off the Super Clash, the first one where they were setting up Mr. Lawler and Kerry Von Erich for the Super Clash at the unification deal.
Right.
I second match, and here I walked in. Mr. Dundee said, "Y'all the second match." I said, "Okay." The first match was Sid and Wahoo McDaniel.
Right.
Wahoo put the chops to Sid, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, what have we gotten into?" Here I go out following the Raging Bull, Manny Fernandez. Very painful learning experience for me. He was, total pro, total everything. He was the man, and I was green as all get out, and went up for a spot. He called a spot, didn't hear it. Went up for it. He went up for a leapfrog. I know what he was doing, but I didn't hear a spot, so I hit his knee, sold the knee, and oh my gosh, he came down on me after that, and let's just say he put it to me, and Mr. Frank Morrell was laughing at me. I thought, oh, this ain't funny.
Yeah. And what's funny is it's not funny. It's actually awesome. Is there's one thing that I noticed about that. That's actually considered an AWA event. Now, I know it was AWA and Memphis working together, but when it comes down to it, it's actually a dual event that's marked as AWA. So that's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, packed house at the Municipal Auditorium, and I've had several friends at that match, and they were going, come on, Sonny. And I had one of my best friends that used to do some bounty hunt with me. He says, "No, you need to call him an ambulance. He's dumb." It was fun. It was fun.
Yeah. Now, from what I've done my research on you, it looked like that Wahoo and Manny were in a feud at that time, and maybe they just split the team up just to work each of them, so they weren't working each other again. Do you know anything about that? It looked like that they were in an angle with each other.
Oh yeah, absolutely. They were setting up their first shot at the Super Clash, where they were going to do that Indian strap match, that big war that they had built up to for those two guys to get on and get it on. Gotcha. Yeah, I was just that little pebble that stick that got him right up in there to it. But I was glad I wasn't in that strap match.
Now, if you would have had your choice, would you have liked to have Manny, or would you prefer to have had Wahoo?
Man, I don't think there's a good choice for either one of them. I think except for the last minute and a half of the match with Manny, I would have rather been chopped.
Okay.
Manny,
okay.
Since I missed those that spot on him, he wanted to, the finish was usually that burrito.
Right.
He gave me two of them.
Oh man.
Yeah, he burritoed me and then did the quick pin, and then he was going to throw me over the top rope, but me being green and all, I was tired. I went out the bottom rope onto that concrete floor. Funny. Even Frank was laughing. He said, "Man, I ain't never seen that." He said, "That's funny, fella. That's funny."
Yeah.
You're like, not so funny for me, but maybe you.
Go home.
So were there any further I know you had more opportunities with Memphis, and we're going to talk about that in just a minute, but was there anything from AWA at all, or was this just one and done and you understood it as that?
For me, it was pretty much a one and done, because I had a full-time job. I wasn't one of those guys that could just hit the road like everybody else and do what you needed to do to actually be a professional wrestler. So I was more of what you call the part-time wrestler. If they needed someone, I was 10 minutes from the fairgrounds and 45 minutes to local places where I could show up if they needed a body.
Yeah, but you know what's funny is I don't know any part-timers that started at the Mid-South Coliseum and then worked the municipal, but I understand what you mean. I do. I get it. There were just some good opportunities for you, but man, those are two great starts right there. Golly, brother, I tell you. Now, next question I have, tell us a little bit about the Grim Reapers tag team.
Well, that was pretty easy because Mr. Dundee said, "You two get down there and put a hood on, and y'all gonna do some TV work." And I said, "Oh, okay." We just said yes. Anything he said, we're saying yes, sir. We're doing it.
Yeah.
So the first Saturday we go down there. I think the first Saturday we actually worked Mr. Dundee and Todd Morton.
Okay.
Bill gave me the old body press off the second rope for the first fall. We're done. It was great.
Yeah.
Best thing ever. But he lets you work too. He lets you lay some shots in, and he sold for you, but you're gonna sell for him because he's gonna make you.
Right. There was no choice in the matter, right? Now, obviously, Todd ends up working with our buddy Chris Michaels and Far Too Wild and stuff, but this is even predating that, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
But I think they were doing a deal where he's kind of like the cousin of Ricky and sort of the rock and roll's third,
Right.
But the man could go. He had the people loved him. Perfect baby. I mean, he had the pretty hair. We're ugly, so they put the hood on us.
Now, come on, Sonny. Come on, man.
How was it having Lance Russell and Dave Brown call the match?
I tell this story to people that will actually still listen to me after, I don't know, was it 40 years now? There wasn't a better time in my life to know that I finally made it to Memphis and I was really upset. The first weekend we were there, Mr. Russell wasn't there, but Dave did it. Wonderful. We got to come back another week, and there was Mr. Russell and Dave together, and we were working a match with, I believe it was Mr. Don Bass was our third on a 6-man. Right. Right. We were working Bill, Tracy Smothers, and Wildcat Wendell Cooley. Lance said, "These Grim Reapers, I haven't seen them before, but they're rather large men."
We're just looking at a brand new team climbing in the ring there. The Grim Reapers, boy, they're pretty good sized guys, Dave.
Yeah, they are. I seem to recall they've been here once before, but it was a long time ago.
That was good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
Tell us about working Cactus Jack and Gary Young.
Oh, man, this is kind of funny. Cactus had just came into town as the mystery partner for the stud stable for the fairgrounds, so they were doing a show there a few weeks before, and then he ended up tagging with Gary Young. I love Gary Young. Just awesome. Awesome guy to hit the road with. You learned from him. You talked to him. And I say we were getting our hair done by Terry Garvin because he was doing the perms for everybody at that time.
Oh, nice.
Oh, man.
He was a hairdresser. I had no idea. He's a hairdresser. Okay. We're doing that match, and we're setting up a deal because Gary and Cactus were feuding with Mr. Fuller and Mr. Golden. They were feuding with the stable after they split. So me and Brother Cactus hooked up. I'm green as all get out, and he shoots me off, and we do a body block, a shoulder block, and we both fall. You think, man, what are these two clowns doing? But of course, he ends up being a Hall of Famer, and here I am still out here living off of these dreams. He's a Hall of Famer for a reason.
Yeah, brother, but they can't take any of this from you, though. So don't ever forget that.
Don't sell yourself short.
Yeah, I know a whole lot of people that ain't done any of this stuff, and so you should never forget that. But the one I'm dying to ask you about, because this guy is another Hall of Famer, recent Hall of Famer, probably, I would say, arguably on the Mount Rushmore of tag team wrestlers as well. You got to work Scott Steiner, man. How was that? A very young Scott Steiner.
Gosh, that time it was a lot of fun. He was always rather stiff, but he was so professional about it as well. He was already seasoned when he got to us here in Memphis. I was working security at a little place right outside old Chevy's, Patrick's in South Nashville, where he would come in and hang out there until he went over and won the hard body contest to make money.
Really?
So, yeah, we're busy. And then one week, I got the call from Mr. Bill. He said, so-and-so's not going to make it. Go make the loop and you're going to work Scott this week. I went, oh, okay. Okay, I'm going.
Yeah.
The first scoops me up and we do a little thing, and the working's great. I mean, he helps me a ton, and he scoops a big old Bubba, big Sonny up and runs him into all four corners, and then power slams me, and I go, oh, we're done. We're done. 1, 2, 3. Sonny's out. Scott's up there, but man, he was so cool to work. Got that 3 nights. Oh, don't remember half the match because I was blowed up most of it.
Yeah.
So I've seen that maybe your mom was the only one that believed in you in this fur coat battle royal. Tell us about that.
That's kind of sad, but it's funny in a way. This is a Christmas. I think it's 1988. I get troubled with the dates. This is Christmas night. There's a ton of folks down there for this card. It was supposed to be in Grim Reaper #1, but he didn't have his gear, so it's old Sonny Street. He's there. So the battle royal is for a fur coat. And there's Scott, I don't want to say there's Brian Lee, the RPMs, Sid's in there, Dundee, Brian Lee. There's just a plethora of some of the greats that's ever worked. And they had this box when you walk in and you put the name of the person that you think's going to win, and you put in his box if you're going to win the battle royal. I had one vote in there. Who voted for me? Oh, Mama.
Sweet Mama.
Yeah. But what was great about that night was Mr. Fuller said, don't you go out early. You stay in it. This is where you learn, son. I was down to 4. It was me. Yeah, it was me, Brian Lee, Bill, and it may have been Sid. I don't know. But he said, it's time for you to go, Bub. I went, well, how am I going to get out? Brian did the clothesline on me. I go up over the top rope. I've never done that before either. Go up over backwards. That ended up being my best move I ever did all my life. I love going up over backwards on the concrete floor. But Brian says, you're gone. Have a nice day, Sonny. I said, thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No problem. Yeah, man. So where are you at right now? Like, so during this time frame, where are you thinking of yourself as a wrestler? Are you still kind of saying, hey, look, I'm part-time. This ain't going to go any further. What do you think?
Yeah, like everybody that is in that business, you want to walk straight up and get a belt put in your hand because you think you put in all the work. But you haven't at all. I was still playing traveling softball for big. I'm just a big kid anyway, where you travel around the country and play a lot of softball tournaments and you hit a lot of home runs.
Yeah,
that was my deal. I love playing softball, but I love wrestling just as much as softball. So there was some days I had to decide if I want to go wrestle or go play softball, and it all depended on where I had to go. Most of the time.
Gotcha.
So Sonny, can you give us a Mount Rushmore of your softball players you ever played against or anything like that?
Oh gosh, here's a guy named Big Cat, Mike Masenko. Big Cat down there, one of the best home run hitters in the country for years and years and years. Has bats after his name. Craig Elliott, they called him Crankin' Craig Elliott. He was the man. A guy named Bruce Meade from down in Florida. He's a highway patrolman. And I'm going to run this up. You may know who his son is. Crusher Shear.
Yeah, Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman's son. Or father.
Yeah, I knew you know who he was. Played against his dad, and his dad's team beat us to death. It was kind of like taking a job from me.
Weren't they? They basically like got paid like good money though, didn't like for their?
Oh, they were. Yeah, they were making a living at it. Mine was just if I got somebody to pay for my meals in a room, that's when I was going to play. Those guys were full time.
Yeah. Now, is it same for Sid? Is that why he would drop out of wrestling? Is because he would make such good money at softball?
Well, Sid had another agenda. He had a bigger family than I had at that time, and he had to go and make that money and take care of them kids. He had 2 kids and a wife, and he had to decide what you want to do. You want your family to have what they need, or you know what it is. You got to go one way or the other, and he went to the family, which was I respect that too.
Yeah, of course. And I realized the error in my verbiage there. I actually meant Psycho Sid. Did you ever play against Psycho Sid? Oh,
Sid was awesome, man. He doesn't remember this, but one time he got to ride in the back of my 1986 Nissan Pulsar to a trip to Memphis to do TV.
Nice.
You could have seen that big old, I can't say big SOB in the back of that seat, but it neck cracked on him, turned that little sunroof. He don't remember me. I remember like it was yesterday. He was cool as all get out with me. Was
he pretty good at softball?
They said he was. I never got to play with Sid.
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah. Well, I just know that he would drop out of wrestling for a little bit to play softball. So, it was like he's taking his softball and going home, so.
At that time, I guess. So I stayed here in Tennessee in this area, and he mainly down south a lot. So.
Yeah, understand.
That's right, it's the talk of Middle Tennessee, the channel you love to hate and the channel you hate to love. It's Brian Turner from Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. And if you're looking for matches from Wolfie D to Jerry Lawler to Dusty Rhodes and the team that put a pimp before your eyes and a goatee between your thighs, Booty Call and Athena, go to lostwrestling.com. See, I made it easy for you. Brian Turner's VHS Rehab. Booyah.
Hey, it's the Heat Miser Scotty Blaze, and I'm inviting all of y'all to join me on my brand new podcast, Turning Up the Heat with the Heat Miser Scotty Blaze. So what are you waiting for? Come on over and join me. I'll be covering all the events of the day, global, national, pop culture, movies, gaming, whatever sounds interesting. But I'll also be playing some awesome skating shuffle music from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s. Anything that has a good beat, I'm going to be playing it. You can rest assured. Come on over, tuthradio.com. The podcast is on every major podcast platform. See you then.
Hey everybody, Gene Jackson here, inviting you to check out the Retro Wrestling Review, where each week I'm joined by some great co-hosts who help me review classic episodes of USWA Championship Wrestling, and right now we are doing week-by-week reviews of 1993. But we don't just do reviews, sometimes we get a chance to interview some of the people who were there and lived it, plus do watch-alongs. It's a lot of fun, so check out new episodes that drop every Wednesday at WrestleCopia.com. And to find links to everything associated to the podcast, you can go to uswapodcast.com.
Okay, well, speaking of going to Memphis, there's a pretty famous answering machine voicemail, I guess is what it is. And I have been given the approval to play this on the air. So if you don't mind, let's go ahead and listen to this little clip here, okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Ben, it's Sonny. I'm sitting on I-65 going south. Car's broke down. Don't know what to do. I'll find me a way home. Sorry I missed you. Bye, dude.
Now, of course, Ben Jordan. He's one of my favorite people, your favorite people, everybody's favorite people. But that was his answering machine. Tell us that story.
I can't believe he still had that after how many years? 30 years? 40?
Yeah.
Both of us had gotten a call. He'd already been doing TV down in Memphis for several times, and of course, when somebody's not going to show, here's Sonny, he'll come.
Right.
He'll come. He but got the call from Bill, said, hey, why don't you and Ben meet and y'all go down together? I said, okay. So I called Ben. I said, let's meet here. and we'll drive down together. And, you know, here comes I-65. And back then you didn't have phones. You didn't have anything. When you broke down, you broke down.
Right. Yeah.
Or laid down on me, and I said, I got to let Ben know. So I ran over to a little gas station, called his number, said, Ben, I'm stuck. I ain't going to make it. You know what? That still haunts me to this day that I didn't make that show.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, because, you know, a man at that time was only as good as his word. Right. And I still believe that, you know, but, you know, if you give somebody your word, you feel obligated. And man, you know, that's just an opportunity, you know, but
yeah. You know, I've been a world champ coming out of Memphis that morning. I don't know.
Right. You never know, man. Were you feeling like that was a pretty safe bet, though, that you're going to win the title had you showed up?
Absolutely. In my heart, yeah, I'd already won it.
Okay. Well, you know, we've embarrassed you enough on that one. I appreciate Ben Jordan for allowing me to use that on this. You know, he's got some incredible ones that I'm still working on him. But I said, man, I've got Sonny coming on the show. We got to use this. So we love you, Ben. Thank you.
Yeah.
The next question, and I'm hoping my timeline is right on this somewhat, but Quentin Charisma, you know, Quentin, we love Quentin, right? He's awesome.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, well, he has specifically requested to hear about some IWA, if you don't mind.
But I don't mind that at all. It's a, you know, it came and went very fast.
Yeah.
At that time, you know, me and Sid, Grim Reaper number 2, whatever we were still very green in the business. And of course, Dr. Squat, Mr. Mike, loved Mike to death. He said, hey, we've got this thing going. We're going right now. And we're like, okay, let's go. So he said, we're going to Joplin, Missouri this Friday night. We're all getting on a bus. We're going to go down there and work a show. We're going to TV tape it and see what goes on from there. And we're like, you know, we're green at that moment. Still, we said, dude, let's go.
Yeah.
So we all loaded up in 100 Oaks at midnight on that Friday night. Went down, did that show. The first show was actually pretty good. We had a great house. Max Payne was the main event that night against a dude named Scalpel. This dude here. We got down there, and there's Mr. Breeze. There's a guy named Robert Scorpio, and there's another wonderful great that ended up in this town for years, Mr. Bart Sawyer. He was there at that card as well. And there's a real funny deal if it's on tape. I know Mr. Hardison has it where me and Bart square up in the corner, and he throws me a couple of them haymakers, and I do one of them stupid bumps, and that's where I became a little bit more. People said, "Oh, that's the one that takes the bumps." Yeah, so loved it. You know, we had a lot of fun. We were missing some veteran, let's say, leadership.
Sure.
And I didn't know the business. I didn't know booking. I didn't know finances and stuff, and all I want to do is wrestle.
Right.
It has some funny stuff. Quentin always laughed about that goofy commercial we did for a laundry company, where it's on video somewhere where we were doing a laundromat commercial, the interns, and we didn't have our mask on, watching the mask and all our gear in the dryer, and we're playing it real stupid, but it was funny, and that was fun.
Yeah. Is that video on Brian Turner's VHS Rehab? If not, we need to find it. So
got it somewhere in the files here somewhere.
Yeah, I understand. Well, maybe that'll see the light of day sometime soon. We do plan on having Dr. Squash on in the coming months. You know, we've got a list and we're checking it twice, and you know, the reunion only made it bigger, you know, which is good for us, right, Sonny? So you know, all the content we need and more, you know. So, but we do plan on having Dr. Squash on, you know, where I'm a musician and wrestling fan, you know, it seems like a no-brainer to have him on the show for sure. But, you know, Quentin, he was like, man, when you have Sonny on, you got to talk some IWA. So let me ask you, where was it? Was it out of Joplin? Is that where it was basically out of?
That was just where our first show was. And then we came back here. We did that deal on a Saturday night. And on Sunday, we were booked to be in Tullahoma, which we got over there. And that kind of turned into I don't want to say ugly. It turned into a bad deal where we didn't have a whole lot of people show up, and looks like it became a money thing. And we kind of had to shut that down there. And then we ended up back in Nashville for several shows at the old Armory up on over there by 100 Oaks. We had some good houses over there.
Cool. Yeah.
There was TV taping there, and once again I got to work that great Mr. Ricky Morton, and that's a really, really one special to my heart because he carried me again. Everybody carried me because I was green throughout my whole career.
Man, I believe we've got somebody trying to take poor Arvel Hutto's title as modest here. I'm telling you, Sonny, you get to brag on yourself right now. It's okay.
That's what this is about.
Yeah, this is what this is about.
It won't happen, I promise.
I understand. We're going to try, though. We're going to try.
Tell us about Bubba's Bash softball games and like the who's who of wrestling being there.
Oh, okay, yeah, that was so much fun. After my years of wrestling, I had kept in touch with Reno a lot. Me and Reno were buddies back in the old days, and not just wrestling. Us growing up with a bunch of buddies around, and Big Joe Duman from Channel 2, Chris Sanders, old Titan. I had a softball tournament that started in 2006 up here in Hendersonville at Grace Creek Park, and it was all for the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Okay.
We did 10 years of that softball tournament, and then I added the celebrity game to it. It was very easy to get some folks to play in it because I let Reno know, and here comes Chase, here comes Boogie, here comes Wolfie. Wolfie brings his daughter, and she outplays all the guys.
Yeah, because she was in college playing, right? I'm pretty sure.
She made them all look bad. Michael came up and played with us. I got Ryan Genesis. Paul Adams was up there. Rest in peace. He was up there playing with us. There was so many others that came up, but those are the ones that stood out. Oh, Doogie Vance, he came and played. I love Doogie.
The voice of Saul. Yeah.
Yes, he was there, and we had a lot of ex-Titans and all. We did that for a few years, and of course we raised that money for the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it just added to what we were doing with the Big Bubba's Bash, softball.
And I don't think it can be undersold, but you love softball, right? You were like, I can maybe squeeze you guys in during this time because I'm going to be playing or umping or whatever. You are a pure fan of softball, right?
Yeah, I just love being out in that dirt. I was slow and all get out. I was not blessed with any kind of speed whatsoever. Blew the knee when I was in college. So I hate to say I started off wrestling with already a blown ACL and terrible knee. We had a deal when I was at the QUANTITIES when Jeff was there. If a train came by the baseball field, it was an automatic steal. But everybody but me. But softball, I loved it. And then, once again, you try to kind of turn something that you love into something that helps others. And that's what softball is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, no, the Bubba's Bashes are legendary. I remember you were up at Saw, and this was when it was in Millersville, and I was working for TJ Weatherby there, and you would drop by and say hey to some of the fellas, and it was partially you dropping by to say hey, and then partially you recruiting some teammates. I loved it, man. It was awesome.
Yeah, it was work. Everything's a work, right?
Man. So to kind of get back to wrestling, what is it, 05, 06, you kind of get the itch again a little bit, and you call up old Tony Falk. Is that right? Yeah, Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, I love Tony, love Brother Falk. I love that whole bunch. Timmy, they all just do awesome work down there. And they were at that building down there off of Harris Street, and I said, I'm going to go work. My kids were, at that time, my oldest, but he was 9. My youngest was around 6 or 7, and they didn't know about old Sonny Street that used to wrestle back in the old days.
Right.
And I said, I think I feel pretty good. I'm going to try it again. So I slid my picture underneath that door one day up there on Harris Street, and I think it was either Tim or Tony called. Said, yeah, come on Friday night. Yeah, come on down. Yeah, come on. So it was so much fun. I got down that night. The first night, I got to meet all 2 guys, and here comes Tracy Smothers in as well, barefooted wrestling. I said, man, I didn't know you was barefooted, Tracy. He went, Bub, I've been doing this for a while. And I said, that's how much I've been paying attention. I got to work Buzz. I got to work Buzz Duck. Oh man, it was fun. Oh yeah, he had to carry me too. But it was fun because Kevin was out there on the side, so he was getting the heat, and I was just having a ball.
Yeah.
Thank Tony.
Yeah.
we kind of tied in. I had a little store down there at that time. It was called That's Racing. So we kind of tied some racing stuff into wrestling where, I could help them a little bit with a little sponsoring to go down there with the money, man. But I love it. It was a blast.
And, at that time, especially, I don't know if it is as much anymore, but racing and wrestling really had the same fans. A lot of the fans that were there on Saturdays would also be there on Sundays to watch the race, so.
Yeah. And it's kind of fun you brought that up for Harris Street because I was working in the car business at that time down there. And I had told guys, hey, I'm going to wrestle here on Saturday night. They went, what? On Harris Street? I said, yeah. So it was so funny. They said Tony was taking money at the front door, and somebody would come in with a collar and go, oh, you must be here to see Sonny. It was
so if they had a collar on their shirt, it was for you. That's awesome. Hey, that's a higher class of, people right there. Some collared shirts, man.
That was fun. I thought, man, that's terrible, but that's funny.
That is funny. Now, what's this deal about you tagging with Ben Jordan against Chuck Taylor? Is that right?
And here, I'm going to have to go back to Mr. Neely. I try to remember some of this stuff, but I blame it on a concussion. I had gotten jumped on by, I had gone down there that one night to work Mr. Ty Blade, and I believe Mr. Taylor did a run in on us, and here comes Ben, and Ben jumped in, and we worked that out for the next week, and so Ben and I got to work a tag match the next week, and it's like two old kids hanging out there together. We had a ball.
That's awesome. Chuck Taylor, obviously, and I know you're not a Heat guy, and I respect that about you. You're probably living a happier life because of it. But our late great buddy Hot Rod did not like Chuck Taylor. Did you notice any kind of attitude from Chuck at all?
I did not. I promise you, I did not. I didn't notice.
And I mean, it's actually turning out that maybe it was something with him and Hot Rod now, I'm figuring, because nobody else has said anything about Chuck like that. So must have been something him and Hot Rod didn't click on, So.
I only met Chuck that one evening, and after that I was pretty much done again because my knees and back and everything was pretty much shot from my years of I was abusing my body way before wrestling. So Right. Yeah. Well,
I mean, some of those names, Buzzy, Ben Jordan, love those guys, man. We could talk all night about them if you wanted to. So, but I'm going to pass it off to the Sheik here. Go ahead.
So tell us about this, is it a confrontation, a crossfire between you and Eric Andrews? I heard about, tell us a little bit about this.
Oh, that was fun. Love that. Love Eric Andrews. Once again, it's someone that had to carry the old man. Of course, at that time with Mr. Marcus and the Crossfire, I was just a Make-A-Wish guy. For myself, Hammerjack would always come up and hang with us, and they all participated with Paul. And they said, well, let's work something up here on it. Oh Lord! And I told my wife about it. She says, oh no, oh yeah. So for the first few months, I'm in the front row, kind of pulling a hillbilly Jim deal. Where everybody comes by, and then one night Eric comes by and he starts doing his heat spiel, and I set up and he gives me the old push, and I'm so stupid. I think he was working that night with God rest his soul as well, Mr. Joe Cephas.
Rest in peace.
He worked that show, and he gave me the push, and I screwed up their finish. I jumped the rail and hook up with Eric, and I messed up their whole finish. My redneck came in on me. I'm from South Nashville anyway. I jumped the rope. We got to squabbling there in the middle, but then we got to work that angle about a year later where I got to do the main at the fairgrounds, which is, of course, the mecca, the hall of wrestling. And the main event was me and Eric. We'd been working that for years, and for the year. And here come Mick Foley to be the special guest referee. And he had been there 30 years before. One of the nights I was there at the fairgrounds as a special guest with a stud stable. So, he remembered me. I showed him a picture of us at the standing behind the heel curtain.
Yeah, I've seen that picture. Eric, that's a great picture. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Eric and I had a great match. He carried us. Boogie was training me to get ready for the match. Just an old guy off the street that's a Make-A-Wish guy. He was to love it, and Eric got to throw the chain fist on Mick. He got to hit Boogie with it, and I did a little roll up on there for the pin, and that night here comes Jamie, here comes Bill Dundee, here comes Shane Douglas. They all get to do the strut in the ring on the way out. Just a huge night. Of course, the fairground's packed. It was
right.
Great.
Yeah. The Crossfire stuff was on point, man. They definitely had a thing going for a while, for sure. They were always packed in there at the fairgrounds. So, but, the one thing I will say, man, is it seems like, in your career, you picked your spots pretty well. I will say that, kind of looking back on some things, it seems like you maybe didn't work all the small territories as much, but it seemed like you really picked your shots. And I mean, it still wound up to be a pretty, on paper, it looks like a pretty great career, man. So, that's why I say don't sell yourself short, because that's, those are some, I mean, this is just a great resume for a wrestler, Well,
I was just blessed, man. I sure don't have the resume that all these guys have, like Mr. Morton down there doing this for 40 years in that one town, Ben and Steve and those guys in Columbia. I would love to have that resume, but I probably wouldn't be walking around on this earth if I had done that.
Gotcha. Well, hey, I mean, maybe there is something to that. Maybe it's kept you alive this long. Who knows? But so as we're kind of wrapping things up about the conversation here with our Uncle Sonny Street, we do go into these final questions here. They're called quick questions, and they really are kind of similar to the Mount Rushmore, where we try to just pick a little of your brain and see what you're thinking.
All right, brother.
Hey, DJ, hit that music.
If there's something you could tell your younger self, Sonny, what would it be? Like if you could go back in time and give your younger self some advice, what would it be?
I would say, Bubba, you should have listened to Mr. Bill Dundee more, and there's no telling where you'd have been.
Yeah.
Period.
Well, yeah, okay. And what was he telling you that you think you missed out on, if you don't mind?
Oh, I don't mind. Listen, pay your dues. Listen. Don't say a word. Just listen to these guys in the locker room and just watch watch the magic that will happen with your career.
Yeah. It's funny because you and I are very similar in a lot of cases. I do see that you're an extroverted individual. You don't seem to meet a stranger. Even if you are quiet at start of something, you may just be waiting to talk. But when it comes down to it, I never have got that vibe from you that you're a shy person. Maybe I'm wrong. Because I feel like that also, I got somewhat probably looked at wrong too for not shutting up so much. I talked. When I would meet somebody, I would know them, I would talk to them. And I'm sure some of the veterans might have said, well, that guy needs to shut up and listen a little more. Now, I'm not saying that's your case. I'm putting that on me. I'm just saying I understand, where you're coming from on that for sure.
No, you're absolutely correct. For me, I'll just say I was in the car business for 25 years. You talk. You have to. You have to talk to make a living. Bills. So let's just say I worked the professional wrestling business into my career as a salesman. It was a blessing for me, and I didn't take advantage of people. I didn't sell anybody anything they didn't need, and that set me up with a lot of guys.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, that's a different ball game altogether. Okay, well, this very next one we've got is a very simple one, but maybe a difficult one for you. If we're on the same night and you had to pick which one you're going to watch, the Super Bowl or WrestleMania?
Oh, I'm watching WrestleMania.
Yeah, me too.
Maybe with you, a baseball, softball guys at the World Series.
Yeah, but it's not one night.
I know.
Yeah. The World Series, he could miss the third game and watch the rest of them, or something to that effect. But
yeah, and my wife, Susie, she loves wrestling just as much as I do and more. So no,
okay. It's WrestleMania. I like that one.
All right, if you had one more match in you, who would it be with, and like maybe where would it be?
Oh man, ooh, it's the building's not there anymore. I guess if I could just stand in the parking lot at the fairgrounds.
You set up the fairgrounds.
Well, we'll pretend like it's still there. How about that?
Put a ring up there in there. I just gonna say this. I think it would be fun to have Mr. Shane Morton in there with me. Just one night with him would just be
all right. I can see it.
Yeah, baby and heel, and yeah.
he's one of the greatest in this area that we all need to really, really respect and thank him for what he's doing for this business. He's keeping it alive. The old school where you tell a story instead of just getting in there and start flying all around and 19 false finishes.
Yeah, amen.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Build a story is right. And Shane is Shane always taught me, because I've considered him a mentor. And Shane always reiterated to me was, make it make sense. Does it make sense? Tell me, does this make sense? And if it doesn't make sense, let's not do it. There's no need to do stuff that doesn't make sense. And he may have told me that twice, but it was like he repeated it to me every time we worked together. You know what I mean? So.
Right. Words of wisdom, brother.
Amen. Right. Yeah. Yeah. So this one is one of my favorite quick questions here. And it really can open up to so many different ways. And most people pick one, but I'm interested to hear what you pick. So if you were to have a pause button or a rewind button on your life, which would you choose?
Oh man. Just pause right now, period, because I've been so blessed over my whole life. I'm 60 years old in January. I have done more than more people have done in their lives. Didn't excel at all of them, but at least I got the opportunity to excel at them. But right now I've got the greatest family in the world. I've got my wife, my boys, and they love a little bit of wrestling too. And I couldn't ask for any more. Pause right now. Stop. Let's enjoy it more.
Brother, I love that.
I like that answer.
That is an understanding of realization. That's a realization right there. And Steve Neely was the first one that I know of in my mind that has said the pause. Most have said rewind, or take my wife that I have right now and rewind, whatever. But I love the perspective because it shows a contentment in life. You know what I mean? And brother, that's what we're all looking for, is to be content,
Amen.
Yeah, man, I love that. Whenever I hear a pause, I pop for that. Yeah, so thank you for that one. Well, Sonny, it's been awesome having you on with us, brother. We always wrap it up with one final question from the Plastic Sheik, and he's going to take it right now.
All right.
If you had one match that you look back on your career and it was just your favorite match for whatever reason, tell us a little bit about that one.
It's going to be easy. Well, I'm going to break it. I hate to do this. I'm going to break it into two of them. I got to work Max Payne once in Joplin, Missouri. That was the first main I'd ever done. I hear this say a lot. You take a night off. I worked that big guy. He was bigger than I was, and there wasn't many bigger than I was. The night off was with him. It was so cool. And then the first one's got to have to be with Mr. Morton, Mr. Ricky Morton. We did a deal at the National Guard Army over there by 100 Oaks. And after about 3.5 minutes, I was sucking so much wind. That guy could go. He carried me for 10 minutes. And like he said, it was a night off except for me being a little bit chubby and blowed up. It was so much fun. I could do that again.
You just described my daily life, chubby and blowed up. No, but seriously, though, if you say, I was almost going to guess that you were going to say Ricky Morton, because honestly, man, to me, when you come down to it, like, Ricky's my all-time favorite wrestler of all time, and I don't care who knows that. I've told everybody, but...
You told him, basically.
Yeah, I did tell him. I told him in many ways. But Ricky, to me, had he even broken a sweat when you were blowed up?
No, he had just got started when I was ready to go home. I'm just it ended in a double DQ that I didn't get put over. I would have put him over in a heartbeat. He got to take a chair to me at the end and the outside, so it saved my character, old Goofy Scalpel, and his stayed on top of the world, which it should have been.
Yeah. That's awesome. That's very cool. And I love that. So, one thing that I want to start encompassing of this a little bit more in the podcast, because I feel like sometimes we get to the end of the episode and we wrap things up and then are like, well, is there anybody you'd like to give a shout out to that throughout your career that meant a lot to you that you want to make sure that they know that you got love for them?
Well, the hardest thing is knowing that you'd like to thank some people that don't have a clue who you were, right, or they don't remember who you were. Mr. Dundee, God rest him. He's awesome. I used to have dinner with him at several places, and he would talk Bubba, Sonny, but he doesn't even know who I am anymore.
Yeah.
And that hurts me more. And rest in peace, Mr. Smothers, Tracy.
Amen.
Quick story, and I'll get out of it. He super kicked me in this 6-man on TV.
Yeah.
And I had a little blood, little color coming out of my mouth under my hood. And he was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And then Dundee gets on top of him as he's pinning me. He says, I've been beating on Bubba for 6 months. You can't hurt him. Don't worry about it. It was just, you just remember those special moments with the greats. And I was in there with him, Dundee, and Mr. Cooley at that time. Just too many good memories to share. I wish I could remember them all.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, when you do, there's always part 2, brother. So I know we.
I don't know.
Well, I know the first one was hard enough to pin you down on, but I truly, Bubba, I truly want to say this, man. I appreciate you. You've always been somebody that I considered highly respected by all the boys, whether you knew it or not. Everybody, I don't know anyone that said a bad word about you. And I just want you to know, man, that even though you feel like maybe your career wasn't what you wanted or thought it would be, I do know that you're thought of very highly, and you should go to bed very comfortably knowing that, brother.
I do appreciate you and my other cousin, nephew Street over there. You guys are awesome for having this, and it's an honor and a blessing, brother.
Thank you, Sonny.
It's our pleasure.
You're the best, brother.
We're glad we got to do it. And when I was on vacation a couple weeks ago, at first I thought I was going to maybe miss the interview with you, and I was like, hold on, can you make sure it's not with Sonny?
Yeah. Technically Sonny was going to be in the place of Steve, but because Jared was not, I wanted it to be all the streets on this one. I didn't want anybody coming in and, Ben Jordan, on this Ben Jordan did an awesome job as guest co-host with the Steve Neely episode, but I wanted this one to be the street team here. So
I do appreciate you because, like I said, I don't get out of my comfort zone that much anymore, but y'all made it happen for me, and I do appreciate it. I can't wait to see you guys at the next reunion because that means a lot. Like Mr. Reynolds said at that last one, you never know what if, and
right.
It was a blessing to see all of you, meet you all for the first time. I hear you and been watching you and following you, but you guys are probably ready to get out there. Have a great night, buddy. I appreciate you.
You too.
Thank you, son. You're the best, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
See you guys.
We'll be right back to wrap things up with the Plastic Sheik after these messages.
Hey everyone, this is Shane from Insane Shane's World. I release wrestling figures of enhancement talent, mid-card wrestlers, and wrestlers that you never thought would have a figure available. So if you are interested in adding a really cool and rare figure to your collection, then don't hesitate to contact me at shamtheman73@gmail.com. That's SHAMtheman73@gmail.com. You can also join my Facebook group. Just search Insane Shane's World.
This is your rock star ring announcer, Aaron Camaro. I'm a man who believes the two greatest art forms ever created are professional wrestling and heavy rock music. So when I'm not hosting the best parties that also happen to be live professional wrestling shows, I'm hosting the Decibel Geek Podcast. Decibel Geek is a weekly podcast that features discussions of all things rock. We're talking the Beatles, the Stones, Led Zeppelin, Jimi Hendrix, Black Sabbath, Kiss, Ozzy, Motley Crue, Guns N' Roses, Metallica, Alice in Chains, Pantera, and everything in between. Plus, we'll turn you on to new bands from today that have the same spirit and style that the legends do. Decibel Geek is hosted by myself, along with Rockin' Pod founder Chris Sinzak, and each week you'll get interviews with famous musicians and industry insiders, along with informative, entertaining, humorous, and insightful discussions, and most importantly, a passion for the music. So if you love to rock out as much as I do, then this is your invitation to the greatest rock and roll party in all of podcasting. It's Decibel Geek, and it's available right now on all major podcast platforms. Oh yeah!
Oh, Sheik, one more time, man. Sonny Street, that was an awesome interview, awesome episode. A lot of fun, man. Really cool.
Yeah, man, it was great talking to him again. He's such a humble guy, man. He's, he doesn't think he deserves to be interviewed or anything about his wrestling career. But, man, he, like you said earlier, he hit his spots and had some big moments, even if he didn't have as many of them as some people we've interviewed. But, he had a full-time job working, and he played a lot of softball. And, man, he had a good career to have all that going too, man.
Oh, definitely. And for years he put on his Bubba's Bash, and had a lot of our buddies on there, and good dudes, and just doing some good things with the Make-A-Wish foundations and stuff, man. He knew what he was doing, and he's got a big heart. And I think, what he did proves that he has that big heart. He just totally cares about the people, and man, he cares about his fellow wrestlers. He cares about, his friends and family. And I mean, Sonny, if anything, if he didn't feel like he deserved it as a wrestler, I feel like he deserves an interview as a person, so.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Very good dude. But we're very happy to have had our wrestling uncle on the podcast. If anything, if you guys can give us a follow on Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube at GMBMPW, means the world to us. Thank you so much for the support that you've shown us already. But, we're trying to grow this thing as much as possible. We're working our butts off to make that happen. If you can, go on those same platforms, Facebook, X, all that, and go to @LiveWolfieD and go ahead and follow that while you're at it. Make sure you're subscribed to that. Like Jared said, go check out that Tracy video on YouTube. I think you'll be entertained. It's a lot of our buddies that have been on this podcast, a lot of our buddies that have been on the Wolfie Show, just a lot of good people and doing a cool thing for a cool guy. So, we thank you so much. But, other than that, Sheik, I don't really have anything else. Do you have anything before we wrap it up?
No, man, hope everybody has a good 4th of July and fun eating and seeing some fireworks, whatever you like to do on that day.
Yeah, exactly. Well, you brought up a good point. As you noticed, this dropped one day early. Shouldn't be any different. Your feed will supply it to you if you're subscribed to us or follow us through any of the podcasting apps. Shows up a day early just because, man, on holidays, it never fails. Either podcast numbers just aren't the same. And sometimes I just worry that, it delays the inevitable. So we went ahead and gave you a little treat one day early. And, who better than Sonny Street to give you that? We definitely want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July. Always love this holiday, something about America, but
yeah, absolutely, America.
But yeah, y'all have a happy and safe 4th. Thanks again for listening to Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling Like You Do. And I don't want to announce them just yet, but we got a really cool one on our next show too. I'm excited about that one. So, other than that, we'll talk to y'all next time on Give Me Back My Pro Wrestling.
Don't forget,
I want to run. I want to hide. I want to tear down the walls that hold me inside. I want to reach out and touch the flame where the streets have no name.
With a tear in my eye, this is the greatest moment in my life.
We'll see you later.
This has been a James Rock Street production.